any situation, our judgment will always be colored by our beliefs, values, and expectations. We all tend towards an unrealistic kind of optimism, especially where we ourselves are concerned. As a result, we often underestimate the risks to which we are exposed. Just think of smokers. It won't happen to me, the smoker will think as he draws on his cigarette. He suppresses the risks to enjoy the moment. In the longer term, of course, his feeling of invulnerability may not be much protection against the less desirable effects of his habit. We also tend to remember pleasant experiences and success and forget our failures and disappointments, which means that we will always see the real enjoyment close at hand rather than the theoretical danger further away. This self-serving bias is an understandable tendency in all of us, but it's also an influence that is carefully hidden from our consciousness. Because of this, it's hardly likely to improve our decision-making abilities. In aviation, misplaced optimism can have fatal results. On the evening of April 4th, 1986, a West Wind 2, a twin-engine business aircraft, took off from Dallas Redbird for its home base of Teterboro, New Jersey. The flight had been delayed several hours while its passengers finished their business negotiations. The crew had had ample time to prepare for the flight. The first general weather forecasts, a few hours before departure, had predicted storms en route. But this does not seem to have worried the pilots unduly. At least, they didn't bother to obtain a fuller or updated weather report before they took off. A few minutes after takeoff, the captain contacted approach control radar.
Our radar is not doing very well.
He asked for radar vectors to fly around the bad weather. 17 minutes later, the west wind had climbed to 37,000 feet. The crew called again.
Well, off to the left, they're still building. There's topping out about 38, 39. But off to the right, where we've just passed through, she's topping up about 36 to 37.
The crew could see that the flight was gradually being surrounded by towering storm clouds, but the pilots still seemed optimistic. They then changed radio frequency, but they did not tell the new controller about the problem with their weather radar. 1 minute later, in VMC and at night, the crew were flying directly into a buildup as they came on the radio again.
Center, west wind 50 Sierra Kilo, need to get up.
The radio operator cleared them to flight level 390. He received no reply. The aircraft flew into an active thunderstorm of maximum intensity. Its top was rising at 1,000 feet per minute. The crew soon lost control in the turbulence, and both engines failed. The aircraft crashed vertically into a field. 2 experienced pilots and 5 senior executives lost their lives. The captain had clearly felt that it won't happen to me. He had obviously underestimated the severity of the weather, and through a series of bad decisions, he had gotten himself into a situation where effective decisions could no longer be made.
Why is it that we often go along with other people's ideas? Why do we willingly and often unconsciously accept the benevolent authority of our superiors? Because we all have a basic desire, a need, for recognition and acceptance. In some ways, our social adaptability is a positive thing. Grouping together can be a good way of dealing with less pleasant events in our lives. After all, as we say, a trouble shared is a trouble halved. But when it comes to teamwork in our day-to-day lives, falling in mentally behind the others in the group can be a dangerous thing. It means, of course, that we lose our independence. There's a name for this phenomenon: groupthink. When groupthink takes over a team, vital safeguards are lost: mutual monitoring, control, criticism, and correction. The safety of redundancy is removed, and collective error can take its place. And the dangerous individual illusion of, "it won't happen to me," turns into the dangerous group illusion of, "it cannot happen to us." which is one of the reasons why it's not just individuals who make mistakes. Sometimes it's the whole crew. Perhaps the best demonstration of groupthink was on April 26, 1986. A team of skilled specialists were carrying out a test on a piece of high-technology apparatus. The team were well-trained and highly experienced. Yet on this occasion, they ignored the most elementary regulations and turned off warnings, even when the test had unexpectedly slipped into the danger zone. The apparatus they were working on was a nuclear reactor. The place, Chernobyl.
A feeling of overconfidence can just as easily take over the flight deck of a commercial airliner, as the following original report shows. Radar vectors to the ILS were planned for this highly sophisticated airliner. The crew expected no problems, so the pilot in command briefed his intention of testing some flight guidance switchings with flight director and auto throttle system off. Radar turn-in was started, and during the turn, slats and speed brakes were extended to reduce speed. The planned test was made in a left turn with 12 degrees bank and 1 dot high. In the meantime, the localizer had been overshot to the west. Rate of descent was increased to minus 3,000 feet per minute. Speed was 230 knots. The crew now tried to intercept the localizer with a 10 degrees intercept angle. With a full localizer deviation to the left, half a dot below glide slope, and gear and flaps still up, a mountain triggered the ground proximity warning system. Pull up. Approach was continued with rate of descent reduced to 1,000 feet per minute, and pull up activated for at least 15 seconds. About 25 seconds later, the outer marker was passed on an angle of 20 degrees to the ILS and 400 feet below the glide slope. The glide slope now showed full fly-up with a rate of descent of 1,800 feet. The situation was finally resolved with a go-around initiated at 600 feet radio altimeter and fully left of localizer.
This experienced and well-qualified crew from our own ranks had expected no problems with the approach. They even had radar support. They didn't notice, but the feeling of invulnerability was gradually getting into them. In carrying out their tests, the crew were no doubt acting with the best of intentions and were convinced that what they were doing was fully correct. But maybe the pilots were convinced of something else too, that the policies and warning systems, such as the ground proximity warning, were an unnecessary restriction in this particular situation. These are the classic elements of groupthink. Gradually, unnoticed, the groupthink mentality can lead our situation awareness away from the demands that every flight imposes, however normal it may seem. Failure is something we can hardly imagine, yet paradoxically, it is closer than ever. Our last example is of a crew that used the positive feelings we can get from a group to fight against the less pleasant aspects of everyday life. The tactic dominates the conversation in the cockpit throughout the approach. Their situation awareness, the thing that offers us the greatest foundation for sound judgment and decisions, was lost to the winds. The crew of this DC-931 were on an approach to runway 36 of Charlotte Airport, South Carolina, after a half-hour flight. The aircraft was descending below 4,000 feet. Let's listen to the cockpit exchanges that followed.
Charlotte approach, Eastern 212, descending to 4. We're turning to 240.
Eastern 212, continue heading 240, descend and maintain 3,000.
All right, on down to 3.
One thing that kills me is the damned mess and all that's going on now. We should be taking some definite direction to save the country. Arabs are taking over every damn thing. They bought Hell, they got so much real estate, so much land. They bought an island for $17 million off California. The stock market and the damn Swiss are going to sink our damn money. Gold over there.
Eastern 212 reduced to 160 knots.
Okay. Yes, sir, boy. They got the money, don't they? They got so much damn money.
That stuff is coming in at such a fantastic rate. Yeah, I think, damn, if you don't do something by 1980, they'll own the world.
They owned it all at one time.
That's right. I'll be willing to go back to one car. A lot of other restrictions if we can get something going.
Yeah.
I get rid of my little one. Money.
Just as well. I'm car poor. I just got two now. I just gave one to my boy, but I'm buying this new one.
Eastern 212, turn right heading 350, cleared VOR 36 approach. You're 6 miles south of Ross intersection.
Okay, 350, cleared for approach. There's Carowines. I think that's what it is.
Eastern 212, you resume normal speed, power 118.1.
118.1, 212. Good day. Hello, Charlotte Tower. It's Eastern 212. We're about 5 miles south of Ross.
Eastern 212, continue number 2.
Ross, 5.5, 1800.
That tower. Would that tower be it or not?
Carowines? I don't think it is. We're too far in. Carowines is in back of us.
I believe it is.
That looks like it. You know, it's the Carowines.
It's supposed to be real nice.
Yeah, that's the tower.
Gear down before landing.
That's what it is. That's Caroline's there. Yeah, radar is up. $394. Okay, got them. There's Ross. Now we can go down.
How about 50 degrees, please?
50. Eastern 212 by Ross.
Eastern 212, clear to land, 36.
All right. Yeah, we're all ready. All we got to do is find the airport.
Yeah.
What the fuck is going on?
The aircraft hit trees, broke up, and caught fire. Of the 82 people on board, 12 survived. The National Transportation Safety Board felt that the probable cause of the accident was the flight crew's lack of altitude awareness at critical points during the approach, due to poor cockpit discipline, in that the crew did not follow prescribed procedures. In our terms, it was groupthink, an inappropriately positive feeling of being part of the group that lulled the pilots into their complacency and led to the disaster.